Recently, my soul pushed me with extreme intensity, and therefore I had to listen to her. I faced my greatest fear. I left my family and the world of illusion. After that challenging decision, I understood that my soul's purpose is to communicate to the awakening English, French, and Spanish speaking audience that humanity is heading towards a monumental dead end. However, what comes after this dead end? The only way forward is to get out of the illusion, out of the triangle of hell. I must remember who I am, and then understand what the hell I'm doing here on Earth. I include the links to my video, I'm Out of the Matrix. Our girls are finally here. The hens are key in completing the circle of life. Life outside of the system has most definitely not been easy. However, what I am underscoring is the word life. Outside of the system, I live. I'm not in survival. Life becomes progressively easier and fear decreases with every single passing day that I am in action. I work hard, physically, in the field every day, and only take Sunday off because that is the day I do my video work. And every few months, we do Sacha Inchi processing or coffee roasting. Lee feeds the Sacha flour into the machine. Then I sort things out and manually remove the shells that did not get blown off. We used to roast coffee in the old oven. Now we have the drum, which makes this process much easier. I start and maintain the fire while Lee rotates the drum continuously. Here is the hot roasted coffee. We process on average 12 kilograms. This lasts us 4 months. We have been living on this Colombian farm since March of 2018. We moved from Ecuador to Popayan, Colombia in May of 2017. The construction of the house started in August 2017, and we moved in April 2018 into a livable but unfinished house. This picture taken in 2024 is of the third field of Sacha Inchi. We planted 3 fields of Sacha Inchi for the first time in November 2018. Previously, pines grew in this area. The soil is a dense orange clay which does not absorb water. We planted 1,500 plus 1,000 Sacha plants. After a small production from some of the plants, a pest attacked the roots and all 2,500 plants eventually died. However, I refused to give up. I knew that for some reason I had to grow the Sacha. We planted another 1,000 plants in 2020, but of another variety, which I was assured was more resistant. This seed was more than double the price. This variety started producing a small quantity, and then most of them started to die off yet again. Only about 100 out of the 1,000 survived and provided me with my own seeds. In this picture, we see the few plants that are still growing and producing. Not only do I no longer have to pay a ridiculously high price for the seeds, my own seeds have infinite love, life, energy in them. I talked about consciously choosing the Krystal LIFE spiral and leaving behind the Fibonacci DEATH spiral in this video. Fibonacci spiral versus Krystal spiral, the 0 point, organic flower of life, or flower of death. Initially, in 2019, we were part of a Sacha cooperative. There was a membership fee of $300 and a monthly fee of $20. They also wanted us to pay another $300 to get an organic certification. Finally, we could only sell the Sacha to them. They had full control over everything. After a year and a half, we finally had some Sacha to sell. From a truck load of 12 large burlap bags of Sacha flowers, which we had to drive for an hour to bring the Sacha to where they processed it, we received less than $200. That is when we realized we must get our own machine. The machine you see in this picture does not work well, and yet it cost us almost $3,000. Further, in my complete ignorance, driven by ego mind, I decided to sacrifice about 10,000 coffee plants to plant the Sacha into good soil. This was in September 2019. Here is a short video. Hola, here is Hector carrying one of the piles from down below of the coffee stumps onto here, where we pick it up, where Lee picks it up with the truck. This has just been a huge job, and it's nowhere near over. Here is Lee loading the coffee stumps into the truck. It is only after we bought the Sacha processing machine that the Sacha started dying. Together with the COVID hoax, throughout 2020, we lost the initial 1,500 Sacha planted in 2018, as well as the 1,000 planted in 2019 into the coffee lot. However, the divine did not permit the coffee plants to die, and 98% of them grew back. To the right of this picture, one can see the Sacha vine. Those vines grow like crazy, and I must wrap them around the wire or other parts of the Sacha plant before the vines grow into the coffee. On the left of this picture is the Sacha vine and some red coffee cherries on a medium-sized coffee plant. These are the super coffee producing plants at the bottom of the hill. We started our latest project, the hen house, in 2023. One of my jobs on the farm was to paint the roofs of the guest house, the garage, and finally the hen house. The side door of the hen house leads to the chicken run. One of my wisest moves was to ship my sewing machine together with all of my other important things. Here I am sewing the curtain for the chicken coop. The curtains are rolled down at night and rolled up in the morning. Our income from coffee has not been enough for survival after paying all other farm expenses. I was hoping that I would develop a market for Sacha Inchi in Popayan. When all the Sacha started dying, we stopped our participation in the cooperative, mostly because I realized that I will not be controlled and manipulated by any external entity. I created a website, nuezsacha.com, small banners, stickers for containers, and counter stands. I visited all health food related businesses and left them Sacha containers together with a banner or a counter stand. There were 10 locations that agreed to sell the Sacha. Initially, there were a few containers sold, but as time went on, the sales completely stopped. No matter how important the omega-3 and 6 are to human health, and the fact that it is not available in any other food source other than fish, people are not interested in it. Especially after COVID, I am in awareness that humanity is mostly completely unconscious. I recognize that Sacha is a consciousness food, and therefore the unconscious humanity will not be eating it. Therefore, why did the divine in me guide me to this project? Of course, Lee and I are eating Sacha every day. This miracle food, together with avocados, bananas, squash, mangostinos, corn, yucca, tomatoes, oranges, lemons, and so on from the farm, provides us with just about everything our bodies need for ultimate health and well-being. But why was I guided to plant so much Sacha Inchi? The divine does everything in absolute perfection. I am in certitude of that fact. So why did I basically fail with this project from 2019 to August 2024? The answer to this question finally appeared. The Sacha will be fed to the hens. Exactly 1 year after building the chicken coop, we bought 48 hens. We realized that the feed for the hens is very expensive, and therefore it will greatly reduce the income that will be coming from selling the eggs. The hen feed is important because the hens need protein and fats, just like humans, in order to have a high level of egg production. This is a picture of one of our eggs from Benita, and one of the eggs we have been purchasing. Our egg is at least 30% bigger. With the added benefits from the Sacha, our hens will not only produce bigger eggs, but they will also produce productively for a few more years. Here are a few pictures of our girls. This hen is drinking right out of the water holes. This is an automatic water dispenser. Behind this hen are the boxes for laying eggs. Here is another view of the boxes, the 2 feeders, and the water dispenser. Only 2 out of the 48 hens started laying eggs. The others need to grow for 3 more weeks. We had to buy the 2 older ones because they ran out of the younger ones. One of the 2 older ones is Benita, the black one. Benita decided to lay her eggs under this small avocado tree, which is inside the chicken run. The other one lays her eggs along the chicken run fence. These are our first 5 eggs. Benita's eggs are the lighter colored ones. Here is Benita and Benito. This is Benito, Lee, and Benita on the roosting bar. The hens roost on the roosting bar at night. Here is Benita. Benita with 2 other hens and their view of the Colombian mountains. Another view of the coop, the run, and the mountains in the back. Now I will tell you the story of why we called our black hen Benita. I traveled for the first time to Villa de Leyva, Colombia in January 2015. I heard of Milena, a French-educated Colombian, from my friends France and Guy. This is Milena's beautiful mother. By this time, I was out of jail, but Lee was still inside. I needed to learn Spanish because Lee and I realized by this time that we will be leaving Canada to live in a Latin American country. This opportunity to travel and live in Colombia for 6 months came up, and I jumped on it. Milena had 2 dogs, Paquita and Paquito. In Spanish, feminine words mostly end in A, and masculine words mostly end in O. I would bike around Villa de Leyva almost every day with Paquita and Paquito running with me. Here is Paquita running behind me, while Paquito would usually run ahead of me. Here is Paquita and Paquito at a beautiful waterfall. One day I biked to this beautiful spot with this very narrow path dropping off on both sides, probably at least 100 feet. Paquito ran ahead as always. Then I crossed, but Paquita did not want to follow me. I was amazed to see fear in a dog. Just like humans, dogs have emotions. However, we do not easily perceive these emotions. Initially, I was calling Paquita, but since she was not coming, I left her behind knowing that Paquito and I would come back in a few minutes. Of course, Paquita did not know we were returning, and so her fear of being left behind was greater than her fear of crossing over. Within a minute or two, Paquita was beside me on the other side and ran ahead to join Paquito. Of course, Paquito is the black one. When Lee and I adopted our dog, I suggested Benito for his name. It means the blessed one. In fact, we were the ones blessed to find such an amazingly perfect dog. Now Benito is key in helping Lee to guide the hens into the hen house every evening. Here are my inseparable males after checking up on the girls. When we were purchasing the hens, they ran out of the colored ones, and they had to give us one black one. This hen turned out to be the friendliest one, and Lee called her Benito too. Once I heard her name, I suggested Benita, according to the Spanish grammar rules. So Milena has Paquita and Paquito, and now we have Benita and Benito. I trust you enjoyed this video. Our hens will eat the Sacha Inchi, produce the eggs, which is a complete food, and shit out gallinaza, chicken manure. The gallinaza is essential in creating abono, fertilizer for the plants, which provides Sacha Inchi, corn, avocado, coffee, and so on. The circle of life. I finally understood that we do not need to make money with Sacha Inchi. We create a new way of living and not just surviving. Infinite love. From millennium slavery to individual sovereignty. In the Orient, in the 20th century, Sri Aurobindo and the Mother discovered and anchored truth consciousness, the supramental consciousness in the earthly atmosphere. Once well anchored, the new consciousness was ready to move on to the next stage, its popularization and propagation. In the West, in the 21st century emerged personal Krystal, the power of the sovereign person to govern oneself. Sri Aurobindo's integral yoga goes beyond individual liberation and undertakes collective transformation on earth. After the death of Sri Aurobindo, the Mother continued their work, and on February 29, 1956, the supramental consciousness was definitely anchored on earth. One single and sincere look at the present world situation is enough to convince anybody that it has reached a point of no return. Humanity is heading towards a monumental dead end. Let's stop repeating our obsolete ways, which can only bring more suffering. Personal Krystal continues the diffusion of truth consciousness in the West. Substantial unity replaces the guru-disciple separation. Let us all spread the contagion of love. I'm out of the game. Like Truman in The Truman Show, I have taken my bow and left a world of illusion, this computer simulation to which I have given authority to manage my life. I leave the theater, where I have played time and time again the roles of disciple, daughter, parent, dentist, entrepreneur, citizen. Today, I devote myself fully and without limits to spreading individual sovereignty, the truth consciousness that I have been experiencing since 2002. Infinite love.